Hello and welcome everyone once again back to Risen Divine Division here on this lovely Monday night. Spooky and Gopherino here to take you through everything. Gopher, we're already off to pick some bands here. Vaporwave Esports over there on the left leads us off on the blue side. Briar and Yi taking off the board. So attention being paid towards the jungle here in today's matchup.
Yeah, to be fair, Fire's just kind of strong in general right now. Definitely kind of on the OP side, so makes sense why you banned that. But yeah, gonna continue the primarily jungle focus here with that Jarvan ban in the last spot here. We'll see what Vaporwave Esports want to lock in here for the first pick, since that is the big thing about B1. What do you want to lock in? The Graves being covered. The Graves basically almost insta-locked here, interestingly enough, Spooky.
Yeah, so still focusing on that jungle. All three bands put towards them. Obviously, Briar's just one of those characters you want to get rid of. And then first picking what I assume is their jungler in this Graves. Of course, we have seen some flexibility in that pick in recent days. I mean, do you expect to see this flexing into different roles, or do you think this is pretty locked in as a jungler?
Most likely just going to be locked in as the jungler here. Um, can of course have that flex potential, like you said. The Udi are going to be locked in response here by ISU Masters, so we already have the jungle matchup most likely figured out here, barring any flexing shenanigans. Two very power farm heavy junglers here, and we'll see how they decide to influence the map because they tend to come out of the jungle with a lot of farm. And not so much for the ganking, but can definitely look for that as well here, as the Zeri is going to be the pariah here in that AD carry slot for the ISU side.
So very farm heavy jungler in this Udyr against the farm heavy Graves. This indicates maybe a little bit of passivity from these two junglers, right? They're going to be looking for their farm, trying to scale up, try to get their items online. So, how important is it now to find dominance in these lanes, specifically this bot lane where we now see this Kaisa being locked in? Wouldn't be too surprised if we also saw a support locked in alongside it just to try to assert some dominance, some aggression down this bot lane for Vaporwave.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some extra prior on that. I mean, the junglers will definitely meet up. They'll definitely fight, and they'll definitely be ganks. We just probably won't be seeing the 24/7 gank machines like the Jarvan here. But it is the Kai'Sa Nautilus here locked in the bot lane for Vaporwave Esports. It's a very classic and very strong combination because you just lock them down for like 3 eternities, and that helps you stack the plasma really well. It's also great against Zeri. If you can keep the little Pikachu locked down, makes it so she can't kite in. That makes your life a lot easier. Their Khan being hovered here, so we do know the bot lanes here as well on both sides.
These are pretty straightforward drafts coming out from these teams here, right? A lot of times we see maybe some flex picks, maybe not really committing to one lane in the top three so much. But right here, you can pretty clearly see what each team is going against. They're basically mirroring each other in the draft itself here. So, not a whole lot of questions being left on the table. We can look towards these next wave of bans, of course. Mids being targeted out since we haven't seen those picked up. Yon, Lissandra, Victor for Vaporwave as well. I have to wait and see what they decide to ban as their last pick. But who does your mind go to now for priority picks for these sides?
I'm expecting a mid lock in here for ISU mid or ISU Masters next, not ISU mid. I'm not entirely sure what they'll want to prioritize in the mid lane if they do choose to go with that, because there have been some pretty noticeable just specific target bans here so far. Like, oh lord, like the Yone, like the Aurelia, like the Master Yi. So definitely trying to pinch out specific players' pools here. The mid lane pull a little pinch. That Ornn being hovered is a very nice neutral matchup in the top lane. If you do lock it in, I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially see something to punish in the top lane. Gwen is a very classic pick into it because you outscale and are able to outduel. Of course, having a Gwen with this composition when you have Graves in the jungle does kind of make things a little bit dicey. having like four super carries and then like you know. But the Aatrox being hovered instead. We'll see if that's locked in here for the top side.
That's an interesting one because Aatrox is one of those champions who likes to get aggressive, likes to fight a lot, likes to be in the thick of things. And a lot of that same thing is true for this Renekton, which they do pivot over into. But how does that play into the Ornn, who's very tanky, scales to be very, very hard to kill the later the game goes on? And notoriously, Renekton does tend to fall off around the mid game.
Yeah, the Renekton's really not going to have a ton of kill threat against the Ornn. It's going to be a very safe lane on both sides. There'll be a little bit of kill threat here from the Renekton, and the Ornn can definitely put in a hurting. The way that if you really want to win this lane as Renekton and win the 1v1, you can still rush the Blade of the Ruined King. Of course, that makes it very squishy when it comes to the actual team fights, so I wouldn't completely recommend it unless you're going for a very like side lane heavy dominance sort of play style here, which is possible. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be fairly neutral on the top side. With that Nico locked in here, that is going to solidify the Vaporwave Esports composition. Definitely, they definitely got a bit of they're going for the spice of life here, I guess. You got a bit of everything. You got some frontline, you got some engage, you got some dive, but it is kind of a little bit of everything. It feels like.
Man, there's no way you save your mid pick all the way for last pick, right? And then you just pick Ari. Like that's so bland. I was hoping for something spicy, something interesting, but it's more Ari over. I mean, how do you feel about that matchup with this Ari versus Nico in the mid?
I'm not too well versed on the Ari versus Nico matchup. Obviously, the Ari, once he hits six, you are kind of forever safe from ganks and all ins. Because you just press the Spirit Rush and you dash on away. I'm guessing the Ari is just more so to fit in with kind of the kiting aspect of this ISU Masters composition here, because you got Zeri, that's a very strong kite champion, and then you can throw Ari in that mix, and then you have the rest of the meatballs here and the Recon to just provide heal for your backline and create zones here from any potential Vaporwave Esports dive, is what I think the angle is here, and it probably matches up neutrally into the Nico.
I mean, looking over the draft as a whole, it feels like a rather difficult team to actually engage onto and fight into from the side of Vaporwave Esports, right? They've got this Nautilus who wants to go in there. Renekton wants to engage, dive in. But you're against this Rakan, against this Ornn, against this Ari who can just charm your engagement and kind of throw a wrench into everything. How does Vaporwave Esports actually approach these fights in order to get a foothold and find success?
They can look for flanks, of course. That is the classic workaround. The other is if you're able to just force fights that they can kite out. Like if they're stuck in a dragon pit, it's really hard to just kite out and disengage because you don't really have too many places to run to. So those are usually the ways you can force like this against heavy disengage comps like the ISU Master Squad does have. And it is still definitely pretty workable here because yes, there is anti-dive, but it's more so in the team fight context. And when it comes to skirmishes, which you do excel at here as Vaporwave Esports, you can still hard engage pretty well.
Well, looking over these kind of drafts as a whole, ISU over here got the Udyr, got the Zeri, got the Zorn. Their late game looks phenomenal right now. On the side of Vaporwave, sure, they do have this Kaisa, and they do have the Nico as well. But this Renekton feels like kind of a big question mark for how well these late game fights are going to go.
hmm Yeah, Renekton still definitely puts in work in late game team fights, just having Dominus plus Core Drinker. You have enough relative tankiness to get one big heal off, get that big Call of the Meek off, just get back a good chunk of health and last long enough to put some threat onto the backline. It is really hard for the Renekton into this area if you're not initially able to get on top of her and use that slice and dice and then just stun her on up. That can be a huge issue here, but I don't think it's going to be too hard of an issue in terms of the Renekton just falling off. More so that the Renekton is getting a little outscaled in terms of tankiness by that Ornn if we're talking about purely the frontline aspect of these two champs.
All right, well, let's pull that back a little bit, right? We've talked a lot about the late game, but we've got a whole game to get through before we reach that point, and some games never even reach an even late game point. So let's take a look at this early game here, right? You've got this Renekton in top lane. you've got this Nautilus and Kaisa on the bot side. It feels like Vaporwave does have some tools to really get themselves off to a good early start. How powerful do you think that is? And how is ISU going to approach that potential issue?
Mm. It's definitely good early power, not suffocatingly so, like you kind of were hinting at here, Spooky Mars. Because like you definitely have good engage, you have some good early game here, but it's not absolute blowout. It's not like you're melee against Darius in the top lane. It's not like it's say Draven plus a Gage in the bot lane. Um, and you should definitely have safety in these lanes because you do still have the disengage aspect. Granted, not as hard. My big question is, what are the junglers going to do? Because they can definitely influence these lanes, even though we said that they are definitely more on the farming side. They do still tend to skirmish a lot, and they can still gank here. Um, and they can set a lot of the tempo here in this early game.
I'll have to see how they do decide to approach that. There's a lot of questions that are being put on the table right now. And I, for one, am very interested to see what kind of answers are going to be coming up. But as we all know, Gopher, there's really only one way to ever answer those questions. Now, you put yourself as a 2-0 for ISU on the predictions today. I went the opposite way. Tell me about your confidence first.
Um, just looking at ISU's match history, I mean, there was only 2 matches, but they lost to one of the top teams in an 0-2 fashion, and kind of got a little stomped there. And then they stomped their next game against one of the current middle of the pack gamers, 1-1 themselves now. So I was kind of leaning towards them. The one match of Vaporwave Esports we had, it wasn't the best showing, and I wasn't too much of a fan because I mean, from the limited information I had, I kind of figured like ISU should be able to clutch this out 2-0. I don't think it's going to be the most stumpy of 2-0s, but I think it's going to be a definitive ISU 2-0.
All right, well, one way or another, one of these two teams is going to make one of these two casters look like an absolute fool here tonight by the end of things. So stay tuned, stick around. We'll be right back with the game itself. All right, everybody. We told you there was only one way to find the answers. There's boots on the ground, play on the rift. Still spooky, still Gopherino here to take you through everything. Gopher, we've seen time and time again lots of different starts in these games. Looks like a basic 5 point right now, so no real aggression being paid. Where do you think things start to get violent in this match?
Um, we could potentially see at bot lane if one of these two hit level 2 first and then get the engage down on the others. If not that, then I assume it's going to be some scuffle caused by the junglers, whether it's them meeting over and fighting over at crab or camp, or whether it's them just saying howdy ho to a lane, you know? Either
Yeah.
one of those, I feel like, is going to be the main source of aggression here. Or we could just have a late in evade. This isn't spotted. I mean, ISU did technically see him in the river, but they haven't seen him just yet. And I
Oh,
don't think
last
Chuzzy
count
sees this quite
over.
yet.
That's a
Good
good
dash there.
dash from Chuzzy Guns to avoid the dredge line there. So it's going to be an invaded blue buff. Notably, Alls is starting on the opposite side of the map there. He's up by the red buff. Should be able to counter evade into the blue buff of Vaporwave. So
Mhm.
maybe not a whole lot lost here for Halls.
We'll see what the pathing from Halls is, because they are going to golems right now. They can just go here towards the blue buff, like you said. That is warded. We saw Lasma drop that on down. And 1v all is just going to take this entire top side, knowing like, yeah, you're not coming on over. I'm fine to just do this. I think we're just going to see vertical jungling here, in all honesty. Unless 1v all like sprints it across mid lane right towards their top side.
That's how I play. It's very
Yeah.
inefficient.
I mean, I have lost aversion when I jungle.
Well, Alls is going to be able to go ahead and make his way over to this blue buff, kind of mitigate the losses here. But this does end up putting these junglers on opposite sides of the maps here very early on. Obviously, 1v is going to be in the bottom side. Spoda is a winning trade up and top after hitting level 3, a little bit before Lasma there. And with Halls being up in this top side already, do you think maybe we're seeing a little bit of aggression come out here?
Could definitely see it, especially if they get this crocodile pretty low and get that wave crushed on in. Of course, Halls 1 is spotted right now as that ward that was highlighted by Chippy. Thank you for that. And so we'll at least have a rough idea that it would be coming. At the very least, knows like, hey, enemy jungler's topside, so let's play things pretty safe. That's good direct line in the bot. Not gonna lead to too much here, just a trade of some pots, I believe, and yep, just everything going to take a little bit of a chill pill.
So lots of little tiny skirmishes popping out across the map. Nothing conclusive just yet, but it's very telling of the mindset so far. Svoboda taking a fight up in
Should be
top
the
lane.
first game.
Lasma possibly cut off. Slice and dice. Flash comes through. Force the flash from Lasma as well. But here comes Halls right down the hall. And the first blood stains the halls. And ISU picks up an early bounty in this game.
Great pickup in the top lane there, just recognizing that Lasma pushed up a little too far. Lasma probably assuming that Halls might have already left by then, but Halls was actually on that Scuttle Crab, taking that one on up and very easily able to come to that top side. Savabodi, we should probably should have asked how to pronounce it. Savabodi on the Ornn. Didn't really need too much help there considering how low Lasma was already, but just able to secure the deal there. And oh man, coming right back and Senior Grom taken away, that kind of sucks.
1v all, gonna have to 1v all. Goes right into the 1v3, leaves Cloud Templar alone. This poor Dredge lines in, but finds nothing but a wall. Now the 3 coming forward, looking for a kill. Ignite comes out on Chuzzy Guns. He's burning down, and Shaburl finds the kill in this 1v3. 3v3, now a 3v2. Flash comes through, it's a double kill now for the Kaisa. Running forward, sprinting towards High Lexi, trying to find a way out, but that doesn't take it very far. It's a triple kill for the ADC of VWE.
That's disastrous there. I mean, ISU Masters, they wanted to punish that invade there from 1v all, and they quite nearly did, because 1v all hops over the wall, immediately has the bot lane hop right on top of them. But next thing you know, ISU Masters, they just overchase. They're taking way too much damage. And this is a 3-0 Kaisa. A Kaisa can exploit leads really, really damn well just due to the fact it lets her hit those evolutions that much more quickly. And the fact that she scales pretty damn well. So that is going to be quite the stingy point here in this bot side.
Yeah, getting some items online already, and multiple summoners have been used in that bot lane as well. Chibaral should be a little bit more susceptible to these ganks going forward. Flash down, Ghost not available. But with Cloud Templar there on this Nautilus, like, how good of a chance really does ISU have at getting onto this Kaisa? The Dragon Line already connects. Man, Vaporwave not slowing down.
I mean, getting on top of the Kaisa isn't really the problem here when we're talking about this 2v2. The issue is the Kaisa getting on top of you, because with how far ahead Shibaral has been accelerated in this game with that triple kill, it makes all inning for this bot laner that much more easy whenever a Dredge line does land, whenever that depth charge does come out, and you're just able to pop that Killer Instinct, hop on in, and finish off some kills there. And High Legacy and Chuzzy Guns going to be having to play it pretty damn safe in this bot lane and avoid hooks at all costs.
Yeah, so far, we've seen a lot of fighting up in the top lane, right? Svoboda being able to put a lot of hurt onto Lasma. But across the pond, down on this bot side, everything is just going the way of Vaporwave. Another invade coming out here. 1v all picks up, what is this, his second blue buff from the enemy now? It just feels like there's not a whole lot going on for ISU down here. And how long can they bleed before things start getting out of hand?
Well, things definitely already are a little out of hand for this bot side. Oof. Yeah, Hall's one gonna hop over and see that blue buff was taken.
Tragic.
Clown Dragon also being taken right now. So a lot of just objective dominance coming out here from 1v all. Really power farming on this Graves. Able to get that early Cloud Dragon for the team, able to get that stack ongoing, and should be able to get their top side as well, since Halls did not path towards blue buff, did not see the Graves taken away their jungle camps there. It's going to fall even further behind in terms of the creep score.
Yeah, and that's a big deal as well, because as you mentioned before, these are power farm junglers. They want to get this farm online. They want to be getting as far ahead as quickly as possible. 1v all has already hit level 6, leaving Halls one level behind so far. They really need to find some way to stymie these invades. But how do they really do that? At this point, it feels like they're needing a rotation from this Ahri in the mid lane. But who's rotating? It's Cloud Templar getting up there first. Dredge line doesn't quite connect, but the depth charge is going to be expended. Spirit Rush takes Mighty Kraus right under that tower, keeps him alive for now, out of danger. Ult for ult, opens up a Herald.
Yep, Gall is just going to be getting on top of this Herald right here. We even had Chibaral up, or rotate on up from that bot lane here. Is going to have to play a little bit safe, since it is just a potential 1v4 coming on out here. We already have Chuzzy in this brush, going to be spotted out with a good Prey Seeker there. So this Kaisa knows the dive might be coming.
I respect this so much more. Hall says, oh my god, there's a red buff here. Finally, I can get some revenge. Opts for the counter invade instead. I don't know. Obviously, you know, Shibaral on this Kaisa is a little bit more valuable with the shutdown gold right now. But Halls needs some farm as well. And diving this Kaisa feels pretty risky right now. Templar chases Chuzzy Guns away. So I don't know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, but at the same time, not a whole lot lost for it either.
Yeah, you do lose the Herald, though. That can help propel this early Vaporwave Esports lead. Already at 700 gold, nothing too major. Laz, you gotta be careful here, buddy. Okay, it's gonna be falling back, because I was about to say, I know you got your jungler up here, and you're kind of baiting for it, but you could still just die here.
I'm not gonna lie, Gopher. I die there every time trying to bait. Every time.
It happens.
Yeah, I know it does. Said 1v all though. Gotta put some attention back towards this mid. Cloud here once again. The root comes through, and where can you go through all this CC? Man, 1v might need to change his name here, because that was just a 3v1.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and going to drop the Herald in the mid lane here as well. Get some extra gold into the mid and jungle's pockets here. Gonna get those Graves even further forward, thanks to the fact that they have the 3 assists, they have the extra farm, and now they have the extra platings in their back pocket as well. Dive in the bot side.
Yeah, Death Charge gonna lock that one down. Shabural now on a rampage. Oh no! Legacy picks up the return kill. The tower does the work. That is tragic for Vaporwave, but it might not be all over them just yet. Oh, what a juke,
Yeah.
Chuzzy Guns.
Yeah,
How
kind
many
of
times can you
expecting
do it to him?
Like, yeah, you saw the Graves dash over the walls there. I was like, all right, I know you won't have that dash back up unless you want to flash over the wall for me. High Legacy, though, does still really suck for them. The kill they get is on to Cloud Templar's Nautilus, not the big shutdown that's on the Shibural Kaisa right now.
Yeah.
But they are able to get something back in return here. So it is something. But it is still going to be such a rough one in the spot lane, considering it's now a 4-0. Okay, so already has a Storm Razor and Pickaxe complete, so that is the first evolution, as well as just having that first item here. Going to give you that extra bit of burst.
What? ISU now trying to make a play for themselves here. They are the first ones around this dragon. It's going to be coming up in about 40 seconds. They want to find some pressure here. Vision control, a pick, anything that will help them get something back in this game. And frankly, as much as it looks like Vaporwave is kind of dominating right now, if you look at the lead itself, it's not that extreme. It's a little under 2,000 right now, which is still very manageable for either side.
Still definitely manageable here for either side, like you said. It feels like Vaporwave Esports have the ball in their court, so to speak, here, since they've been the ones calling all the shots. They've been stealing the blues. They've been starting up the dragons. They got the first Herald. Looking to grab the second dragon here as well. The river is completely locked down in their favor. You already got 3 members here. Enemy jungler Hall's just recognizing, like, yeah, this one's not going to work out. You guys can take that one. I'll farm top side.
Now, unfortunately for ISU, they were not able to find anything on their grouping around that dragon pit, so just have to back off because they don't really win even fights right now, right? It's not a giant gold lead, but it's still one to be considerate of, especially with the XP advantage that Shabural has at this point. Sure, you know, they're both level 8 right now, but Shabural is hitting those level ups a little bit faster. He's just so much stronger to that lane right now.
Yeah, it definitely depends on who's fighting. Oof. There should be a kill here. Yep. Very easy snag up there. Graves having already completed the Yomus, I believe, or was that the what's the name of the item? It looks like Yomus.
That's a Yomus, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, Umbral Glaive. Umbral.
We don't even talk about that item.
Yeah. Graves used to rush that item when they did lethality, and you do still see it sometimes 1v just going for the Ghost Blade first, I believe, since they're snowballing here with the farm and just plates they've been able to pick up. Makes sense, you know, gives you a lot of extra damage. See if they're able to keep translating this lead going forward, because the Ornn in the top side here for ISU Masters is still winning when it comes to the assist and when it comes to the gold, and an Ornn that is farmed up is an Ornn that will start getting to those items much sooner for the rest of the team and help them catch back up. But it's also an Ornn that becomes really near impossible for this comp to kill unless you're Shibural.
Yeah, Lasma has to take these small skirmishes every time he goes for CS up here. Right, the wave's just constantly pushing towards him, and when you're going against this Ornn, it's already got the Sunfire complete. Got himself some Bramble Vest, so every time you're hitting him, you take a little bit of damage yourself. It just feels like such a blank lane for Lasma. There's not a whole lot he can really do. He just has to kind of sit there and not allow Svoboda to win. Not like this mid lane whatsoever, where we see constant aggression, but it's so hard to lock this Ahri down. So we're just going to see some posturing for now.
Could have been a nice turnaround there, potentially, had that charm landed onto 1v, but Mighty going to miss that by just a little bit there. Looks like it's going to be another Rift Herald here for Vaporwave Esports. So really just keeping the objective game on lockdown. This Graves is power farming like a monster, to say the least. With the Ghostblade already completed, you basically pop anyone on the enemy team except for maybe Sivavoda. Sivavoda?
Svoboda?
Okay, we should have asked him how to pronounce that one.
And that's all you. No, it's certainly a unique name here. But finally, we're seeing a little bit of a play on the map here from ISU, trying to shove this bot side down, take the tier 1 out. Shaburl putting up a little bit of a fight here. Smite comes down. Here comes Nico with a big bot blossom, hits 2. Shaburl, unstoppable, cuts 1 down, cuts a second for a double kill. You can put 4 down there, but you cannot stop this Kaisa. That's a full retreat from ISU. Trying to get back into the tower. Charm connects onto 1v-all. He's ready for the 1v-all. Dredge line connects. Shaburl takes the kill. Godlike. It's a tower for a tower. A 3 for 0. What a disaster for ISU.
Yeah, ISU were trying that, but Frostport's able to get a great TP flank there as this Nico and just close in from behind. There's the objective bounties notification. That's how you know things are definitely behind. Because of the 2 Dragon differential and the 2 Herald differential and the 4K gold lead. Now you got a little bit of objective bounties to be fighting for here on ISU. They're really going to need to start stabilizing here because things are starting to fall out of control. There's a 7-0 Kaisa with 2 items. You're going to lose your mid laner here again.
Oh my god.
Mid laner here again.
Yep. It was a good try, but you're just not getting out of that one. Shaburl, almost 2,000 gold ahead of High Legacy, just on his own. That's half the gold lead right there, which is double in the past, 5 minutes, it feels like, maybe less. Objective bounty does get claimed up in the top lane. You're dealing with so much pressure here in this mid. Shelly gets a second bash off. It's going to be 2 towers gone for 1 Herald. Things are just looking grim for ISU. They need to find a place to dig their heels in and find some kind of defense. But where does that even start? Where can they fight around that they're not just losing?
Definitely top side if they really want to. Of course, it is really hard to put a Renekton totally behind. In an ideal world, they would have been able to contest this dragon here, but they're just not able to walk up. They were kind of pushed into their base. They had a lot of recalls to complete there. And yeah, Map Pro just in favor of Vaporwave Esports with a pretty strong lead right now, it feels like. Definitely has ballooned up a little bit here to about 4.5, nearly 5,000 gold. But it feels like a lot more.
Yeah, there are 10 kills on the side of Vaporwave. 70% of them are on Shaburl. And 1v-all makes up the remaining 30% there. 7 and 3 split. These 2 are just running the show right now. And it feels awkward for ISU because it's not like they can kill anybody and get a shutdown, right? They have to kill one of these 2 specific characters who are so far ahead that just saying, oh, kill them for the shutdown. How do you even approach that?
You kind of don't, unless you get a miracle flank. It's just really hard to say the least right now for ISU Masters. If they're able to stabilize, things definitely get fine then, but right now they just don't really have the control over the map to kind of stabilize things. They don't really have someone that's really definitively winning their lane here and able to put some pressure down. The best you got is Spoda, and the top side has the Sworn, who was able to get that objective bounty on that turret, still has the CS lead, but doesn't really have a blowout lead in this top lane, and hasn't been able to share that lead with the rest of the map, so to say.
Right, it really feels like Svoboda's just kind of been left on an island, and he's running his island. It's a very lucrative island for him up there. But at the end of the day, it's still just a landmass in the middle of nothing in the ocean. It really feels like they need to find him a cruise liner or something and start shipping him out, get him in some of these team fights. But does he have enough presence to start swaying some of these fights in his team's favor?
Considering they have the completed Sunfire, they have Tabas. They have the Bramble. There is the charge on in. Misses the charm.
We're all charmed down. Does dash in, but he's not going to survive this one. Finally, a shutdown comes through, and it is Svoboda who makes the call to rotate down. High Legacy taking a lot of damage, flashes into Lasma, and just gets cut down for it. Prosports finds another, and slowly but surely this fight is turning on its head. Svoboda, you can try, but you still have health, buddy. You cannot dent this fight. And the rest of VWE headed towards the Baron pit.
Yep, great turnaround there by Vaporwave Esports. ISU Masters, they had to dive in pretty far for that, and they do get the shutdown there, which is huge. Looking for a steal potentially. You don't have a smite, which is going to make things a lot harder. If you're able to get in this pit, maybe you're able to chunk someone, maybe you're able to make him back off the Baron. Just got to start landing some Cs here and getting some picks potentially. That's a good knock-up. These numbers are pretty low
in
here.
There. Lasma, dangerously low, but now they have the Baron. Now they're all turning around. And Mighty Kraus gets cut down. Svoboda to follow. Chuzzy Gun's got to find a way out of this one. And he does. Dash is good. Now the resets come through. Chaparral gets his revenge. I just could not find those charms to pull Cloud Templar out of that pit and cut him down early enough.
Yeah, it was just the Ornn and the Ahri there. So hard to lock down those people in the pit, especially without the Call of the Forge God there, especially without the Spirit Rush being available. And they get one Baron buff off for their efforts, but it was Cloud Templar's Baron buff. Arguably the least important Baron buffs here, because if Cloud Templar is sieging with Baron buff, you know, they're kind of usually with someone else. You don't typically see the support Nautilus split pushing in the 4-1 scenarios, and you lose 2 in return. So it is pretty damn rough, to say the least, as it has been for ISU Masters. We'll see what they can do to come back into this, because things are starting to look pretty grim.
At this point, even Lasma now has a shutdown after getting a double kill in that fight. Pretty much everyone from Vaporwave is now on the board with kills, obviously excluding Cloud Templar. Can't blame him for that.
Does land here.
Y'all does get chased down, but his ult gets him out of danger. Has the flash. Vegeline closes some distance, but doesn't catch anyone out that they're looking for. Another charm. One of y'all's got to be more careful, man. He's just lost half his health to 2 charms.
Yeah, can regen a little bit of that back up here. Farming the jungle. Farming the enemy jungle. And for Svoboda.
He's taking up to survive this one. It's gonna hurt a little bit. Put some damage down, but it's not enough to force him back to the base entirely. He can still try to poke down these minions a little bit. Keep defending this inhibitor tower for now. There's still 2 around. Keep an eye. Hall's also on the way over here. They're looking for a potential flank. They have to be careful not to step too far out into this Nautilus.
And the Nautilus has to be careful to not step up too far. A little cut out
doesn't
here.
Connect with that wall. Now throws the depth charge, knocks up 2. Still alive somehow. Chuzzy Guns has the stopwatch there to stay alive. Call it Forge God. It's 2 more. This could be the fight they're looking for. Hall's one, finds Chaburro, and Prosport's only one left. It's a double kill for High Legacy. Finally stamping his name on this game.
Now up to 3 kills as this Zeri. Definitely going to be much more of a threat. That being said, though, while that was all happening, Infernal Soul was picked up on the flip side of the map, so another huge advantage just going over to Vaporwave Esports in that. Yes, you do lose 3 members, and those are some pretty big 3 members here that were picked up. However, the Infernal Soul is forever, and you'll be able to really just use that to kick in the teeth of this ISU comp.
And really, when you get a lead like this, right, what it affords you is the opportunity to make a couple of mistakes. You can make a couple misplays and still survive the consequences of that. One of y'all picks up an Infernal Soul. Yeah, you handed over a few shutdowns, but you take a look at the gold lead, right? It's still 9,000 in favor of Vaporwave. Like, they're not crying about that last fight. They might be kicking themselves a little bit, saying, okay, well, maybe we need to clean that up a little bit. I think today they're still looking for the next fight. They're still looking to be the aggressors in this game.
And the world is their oyster right now. Still got 2 minutes till Baron's back up here. So might have a little bit of calm on the Rift here, except for maybe any potential picks that happen in this red side jungle. Other than that, though, I think Vaporwave Esports more than content to just kind of keep pushing waves on in, keep stealing away camps, make sure they keep control over this Baron pit. Just look for any picks that might present themselves, like right here. High Legacy, if they don't want to die, they're probably going to just pop the W here. Yep, there's the Ultra Shock. Gonna spot out those members there that were waiting in the brush, but it was to kind of show like things are rough for ISU Masters. Like you can't really be walking to your own jungle right now, which is really bad if you're trying to come back.
Yeah, it cuts out so much farm when you can't step up into your jungle like that. It's just so much gold and XP left on the table in a position where you really need all that you can get there. Like, you want those camps so badly. You need anything to try to shore this up a little bit. And the longer they stay safe in their base, just clearing these minion waves out, the more this gold lead just continues to grow in favor of Vaporwave. And it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like, where do they even go? Where can they go?
Uh, they basically have to look for picks here on IC Masters, and they definitely can do that. I mean, you have Ari and Rakan, two champions that are good at setting up picks if there's an isolated member and you're able to get some good CC down on them. Create yourself a 5 versus 4 state on the map for a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't cost you an objective. See how that shapes up here, because Baron is up in just under 30 seconds. Good hook.
Not going to be followed up on too much, though. The Cloud maybe saw a few more people than he really wanted to commit to there. Perhaps thought there was more lurking in the wings. So far, been quiet there. They're just allowing Lasma to take this fight down in bot lane, push Swoboda back, get some extra pressure on the map here with those minion waves.
And with the Infernal Soul, it does make this Renekton's life a lot easier when it comes to trading, since you get that extra juice of damage with that proc, not to mention two Infernal Dragons. Helps you actually get through this one. Able to win some trades now. Dash over, flash over.
Dredge line doesn't connect, though. Depth charge comes through, everyone separates. That's a long distance knock-up. Mighty Kraus is going to be fine after that one, but it is one ultimate down. That should make this Ahri a little bit more vulnerable if they're looking to start any fights. And 1v all, starting up the Baron.
And we spotted out immediately. Paul's one does not have flash heroes this Udyr, so they have to manually walk into the pit if they're going to steal, and that's just such a hard sell. There's the teleport coming on out from the Croc. There's the Oran Horn, and the Baron's down.
Yeah, Pop Blossom comes in, connects onto 3. Shaburl puts the first one down. A second one follows. The back line is practically no more in this one. Ornn finds one, but Zavaboda cannot carry this fight on his own. He's gonna fall. It's a double-double, and Vaporwave, now with an ace, should look to clean this one up and take game 1 home.
Very clean game number 1 from Vaporwave Esports. Yes, they lost the first blood in that top lane. However, though, as soon as they got that triple kill in the bot lane here for this AD carry, it's been all Vaporwave Esports all game, it feels like.
Oh my god, yeah, that just melts beneath Vaporwave. It's basically turning these towers into Vaporwaves. Do come up, but they're not enough to defend that Nexus. Too much damage and too little time for the side of ISUM put up a defense in their base there. Vaporwave takes game number 1, and frankly, Gopher, I mean, the only real thing I could say here is, I did tell you so.
Yep, very dominant game number 1, as we have mentioned. Your prediction still has the potential to get those 2 points in the prediction scoreline. I can still technically get 1 point of a consolation prize if ISU has a reverse sweep for the next 2 games. That being said, though, there is definitely going to have to be a change up on this next game, because I feel like the jungle really just kind of bled over to the rest of the teams here, or the rest of the lanes on the map here against ISU, and just kind of led to this eventual snowball that cascaded into their Nexus blowing up in front of our eyes.
Yeah, and really the tipping point in this game wasn't that bot lane, right? It was Shaburl finding 3 kills. But the crucial thing about that is that ISUM were the ones who started that fight. They were the ones trying to collapse on 1v all. They were the ones chasing him all the way to that tier 1 tower and then getting triple killed by the Kaisa. And from there, it just couldn't be stopped. Didn't really see a whole lot of attention on that bot lane from Halls 1 after that. Do you think that might have changed anything if he had maybe tried to gank a little bit more down there? Or do you think it was the right call to just say, okay, wash my hands of that lane. Let's see what else I could do on the map?
I mean, it kind of felt like Halls 1 couldn't really do too much here because
Mhm.
they're just always spotted out when they tried to go for something, it felt like. They never had a jungle that they could return to. Uh, it's
Yeah.
like you go to that ball lane, it's just worded 3 ways to Sunday, you're spotted out. Then even if you get there, you potentially have to run the gauntlet and just eat a full Kaisa combo before you even get on top of the enemy carry.
Well, it is, like you said, though, Gopher. You can win one, but there's still the possibility for that reverse 2-1 sweep from ISUM. We can talk about it all we want, but as we all know, we prefer to see that kind of thing in action. So stay right where you are. Maybe get a drink, a snack, get some refreshments. Because after game one, the next one is going to be a banger right after the break. A dominant performance in game one from Vaporwave Esports. Go for it's not over just yet. In fact, things are only getting started with the picks and bans of game number two here. First thing you'll note is the side swap on your team. ISU Master now on the blue side, taking that first pick away from Vaporwave Esports. And, well, I guess I'm not going to ask you what you think they'll go for because it's the Zaya they prioritize right off the bat.
We'll see if Vaporwave Esports wants to hard prioritize the Graves again here. That's what they locked in
Yeah.
B1 pick last time around. Worked out pretty well for them. That looks to be the case here again. I don't know if we'll see the Udyr into it this time from Pauls. We'll see if they want to go for that run back matchup. It did not seem to work out in their favor. Um, how much of that was because of the level 1 vertical jungling, I'm not entirely sure. Or how much of it was just a pure matchup slash differential, I'm not entirely sure either. But that Graves either way is locked in here. Worked out really damn well. We'll see what they want to pair here with the Graves. The Aphelios being hovered has been not too much in the meta for the past few months, but definitely has popped up here and there and is a very hard scaling hyper carry here in the bot lane. Will be able to match that Xayah scaling and even outpace it a little here. See what they want to pair it with.
Yeah, I mean, after a game like that from Shibure, you got to think they're feeling themselves, they're feeling pretty confident, looking for something to really pop off here. This Graves run back I love. I also love the swap from ISU Masters here, the Xin Zhao instead of that Udyr. Obviously, it didn't work, and when you have a game like that, you tend to look to swap some things up, do things a little bit differently. I like the aggression that this Xin Zhao can have in the early game, which it felt like that Udyr was lacking. And that was really all Vaporwave was doing, was just holding that gas pedal down and running directly at ISU, daring them to come forward and basically winning every fight.
Yeah. Like, it was really hard for that Udyr to get much of anything going. The Shinzao this time
Oh,
around will be able to go will be able to at least hop on top of people much more easily since you have a negative dash within your kit. The Yone gonna be locked in here, so very 80 heavy draft here from Vaporwave Esports so far. I wonder if they ban the Malphite away as a just in case, even though they do have R5 counter in the top lane, because when you see a draft with a Yone, Aphelios, and Graves, it does kind of scream something like a Malphite, something like a Rammus potentially, something that can just stack a ton of armor. But considering we already see the Shinzao locked in, I'd be leaning more towards the Malphite here if they're really worried about a top lane pick.
well, it'll be Oriana taken off the board first, and with some attention paid towards that mid lane. And a Lissandra ban from ISU is an interesting one. I mean, they see the Yone's already there. Are they expecting maybe some potential Yone top, or is there something about this Lissandra that I'm not aware of?
Um, we have seen Lissandra support a few times in Pro this year. I think that's more so for the Yone flex potential because we have seen Yone top decently popular, much more popular in the mid lane. So probably just a safety ban there, just in case like flex does come out. Um, we'll see if they want to keep pinching the mid lane pull here, potentially considering the Yone is already locked in, like you highlighted, or if they want to try and turn some attention to jungle or support here in this last.
Well, they decide to ban off the Renekton, so Malphite still on the board there, and I think you've made your perspective pretty clear that that may be a priority pick for ISU here. But do you think Vaporwave might take it themselves, just to act as that additional ban?
Um, they could. I mean, I don't think this is like a super hard like pick Malphite and you just insta beat the enemy team angle here. But it's one of those champions that just works so well into those three champions we have right now. Kalia would add some much needed magic damage here to Vaporwave Esports and kind of confirm that it is a Yone top lane. Interestingly, that would be saving support for R5, which is not something you typically see, but just wanting to prioritize that mid lane pick
Ooh.
here and make sure it's not too pinched.
Well, it's very interesting that they decide to pick up this Talia right after that Yone. Kind of give their hand away just a little bit there. I would have really preferred to see the Xerath over this Echo. I'm not going to lie. I just like that champion a lot more. That's going to be Echo who gets locked in there. So, well, where does this Echo go, right? Because we've seen Echo flex into a few different roles. My mind immediately goes towards mid. That's the most logical place with the rest of this draft. But do you think they're holding anything in their back pocket here?
I don't think so. No, this should be an Echo mid. I believe ISU Masters have Echo mid before. Um, I can't quite remember, but the face does feel familiar here. Olaf gonna be locked in for the top lane here. Will be able to just go toe to toe with this Yone, just due to the fact that Olaf has really obnoxious 1v1 trading early on. Even if you are able to get a really nice trade yourself as this Yone, uh, you're just gonna get hit with axes and axes and axes, and then there's a Conqueror fully stacked up. There's a big shield. There's a Omnivamp coming through, and it gets really hard to kill this Olaf.
Yeah, that is pretty much his whole shtick is being very hard to kill and not going down easily whatsoever. Puts a lot of damage back out. This Braum, that's the final pickup for Vaporwave, kind of rounds out this draft. So what they're pairing with the Aphelios down that bot lane gives some good counter initiation, but I don't know where does it fit in, right? Olaf can just immune a lot of what he does. Zai can go into the Featherstorm, avoid the big ult from that. So what is the value here? What is this Braum looking to do in these fights in this early game to push Vaporwave ahead?
Um, the Braum pick is not necessarily for aggression. I mean, Vaporwave, they'll primarily be looking to really get ahead in either their solo lanes or through the jungle here. Their bot lane definitely can take a lead and snowball with it, but Brahmophilia is not exactly known for being like the most uber aggressive laners. They're not constantly up in your face. And it is against the Zyra Rakan here, who have a much easier time engaging onto you. So I don't think the Braum is necessarily for facilitating aggression here in the bot lane, more so as for the team-wide sort of potential here. Just give a bit of backline peel here for the Aphelios, because there are a lot of champions that will be diving in on top of you, and those concussive blows
Yeah.
can stack up pretty damn quick.
So looking at the potential dives coming in for my sum, right?
Mhm.
Got this Echo stashing at you. Got this Olaf who's running at you, likely CC immune while doing it. And of course, Xin Zhao can engage from pretty long distance if he lands that wind becomes lightning. So is the Braum enough to keep that backline safe? Obviously, also have this Talia who can put up the rock field, slow them down a little bit. But the Ragnarok from Olaf, that's my biggest question mark, is can Vaporwave effectively deal with that?
Yeah, it's going to depend on how much of a menace Svoboda is coming out of lane, because there's a huge difference between an Olaf that won lane and an Olaf that lost lane charging at your
Yeah,
back ADC. Because the one that won lane is coming in with that Ravenous Hydra, coming in with that Jack Show, just able to tank up everything and heal everything back on up here. Compared to the Olaf that fell behind in lane, is probably just going to be stuck in that side lane trying to farm up and become relevant, because the second you run into a team fight, you're probably just getting schmelted.
yeah. Well, you have the whole drafts on each side here. And before we really get into them too much here, I do want to talk a little bit more about this top lane because it feels like such a pivotal point for this game. In game one, Swoboda was putting the hurt onto his enemy there, Lasma. Lasma wasn't really able to do a whole lot in the lane, constantly kind of playing towards his tower, couldn't effectively fight. Now that Swoboda has a much better aggressive champion, do you think that problem gets exacerbated for Lasma, or do you think that with this Yone, he actually has a better chance of fighting into this Olaf?
Definitely gets exacerbated here, because Yone, a lot of, because if you snowball on Yone, like, a lot of the fact that you're able to 1v1 kind of comes from the fact you're able to get the knockup plus the lockup here from the Q3 plus the Fate Sealed. But if there's a Ragnarok there and you're not able to lock down this Olaf, that means that is going to be some missed damage here, some missed free damage, some missed time to just vamp back up yourself. Whereas the entire time the Olaf is just going to be clubbing away at you. So it will definitely be exacerbated here in this matchup if Spoda is able to get the ball rolling here.
All right. So pulling the lens back just a little bit, taking an overall look just at the drafts themselves, taking game one out of our minds entirely and just looking at what we see in front of us now, do you have a favored side?
Definitely leaning towards ISU Masters here, just due to the fact that you can definitely snowball that top lane here. Bot lane can also get a snowball going themselves. Um, and then Echo should be able to do well into this matchup if you're able to dodge the worked earth and not get hit with that really fatty stun that punishes those dashes in from you, because you're able to really just this matchup if you are able to get on top of it is, and that sometimes can be a little bit tricky if those Talias are good with their CC.
Well, we'll put things back under the microscope in just a moment here. Before we get back into things, before we really start analyzing and seeing how everything plays out, we got potentially one more break for you. Could be the last one unless ISUM is able to turn things around, flip the script, and push Vaporwave Esports to a third game. Find out how it goes right after this. Back under the microscope we go now to analyze the gameplay, and well, one of us is going to be analyzing the gameplay. Go for I'll leave all that hard work to you. I'm just here to yell at the screen and say the big funny words when ultimates start coming out. But before we get to all that fun stuff, we gotta look at the start of the game. We gotta see how this initial play goes, because in game one, we saw Vaporwave were very much the aggressors, looking for some invades, looking to strip that farm away. Here in game two, are we expecting the same thing, or do you think Hall's on this Xin Zhao will have a little bit more fight in him?
Um, it depends. I don't think Vaporwave Esports is gonna go for another one of those late invades again, because they played that card game number one, and it looks like they're not gonna play it game number two here unless they go for a really late invade. Um, so it's definitely gonna be a better start here. You're getting the full leash as this Shinzao. You're not having to worry about potential like 50-50s when it comes to the vertical jungling. Like, it is typically pretty safe to just go for the full-on vertical jungle there, but you never know. There's a little bit of diciness involved. It's just gonna be calm here on the Rift. No shenanigans level 1. Everyone's just gonna get leashed. Everyone's just gonna get right on it to their lane here, and we'll see how things decide to shape up.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping for like a super delayed invade, like an invade that comes straight out of like Elden Ring with how just latent it is. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that kind of excitement here so far, so just a little bit of normal, casual, slow farming, as one might say. But one thing I've learned from these teams after game 1 is there's no such thing as calm in these lanes. Chuzzy Guns kind of puts a emphasis on that point right there with a dash in. I'm still expecting to see some skirmishes, some fighting. The only real question is, where does that really start to break out? Where do we first see these skirmishes starting to come out across this map? Oh.
It's going to be somewhere in topside, whether it's the top laners or the junglers or some combination of any of those 4 gamers here. I feel like it's going to happen. It's already kind of happening here. I mean, can't really chase Lasma under that turret, but able to just keep forcing you under that turret and hate your life just a little bit more.
Yeah, Svoboda just has a little bit of early aggression there. Lasma misses both abilities, so not going to be able to put any kind of trade out onto him. Right now, it just kind of feels like Svoboda is kind of heat-checking Lasma, right? He's putting some pressure on, seeing where the aggression gets him, see what the response is. So far, it feels like he's liking what he's seeing.
Definitely trying to get the feel of the lane here, get the vibes on lockdown. As we all know, it's about vibes nowadays, as they fit in hashtags on social media.
It's a vibe check through and through.
About how like vibes are like the dominant thing now, because you can kind of put vibes in like hashtags and stuff. Like, oh man, this is like a really nighttime vibe, or like this is a really like laid back sort of vibe. You can put that in a hashtag, not necessarily like longer, more descriptive things.
Does anyone even really like know what a vibe is?
You kind of know it when you see it. I mean, there's obviously a lot more to that video essay. It wasn't just talking about vibes. It was talking like about a wider expanse of things. Why you don't really see like large, well, you don't see like really specific anymore. I think it was. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen that. Bit of a gank shaping up here on the top side though. Nice wraparound coming on through. Fight in the bot lane as well.
Yeah, Lasma in a little bit of trouble though. He's gonna have to run for his life here. Nowhere really to go. Does have the dash. Get himself over the wall, but it's a collapse from Mighty Kraus as well. Over the wall, but he can't go anywhere. He's gonna go right back one way or another. First blood goes the way of Svoboda. Not a whole lot of response across the map, except Halls in that bot lane. Does go ahead and grab those Krugs. A little bit of an invade coming through, possibly a gank. He's stepping into the lane itself. Looking for a little bit of aggression, put some damage out. As the gun's very low right now. Halls, high legacy, is the target. Ignite, and a flash comes through. 1v all. Out of danger. Picks up a kill for kill across the map. And honestly, gold even after that.
Yep, no shield available here for this Xayah. Great smoke screen under the turret means you kind of don't really know what's coming here. And just an easy pickup underneath that turret. Things are even on the map. Got a kill on bot side for Vaporwave Esports and kill on top side here for ISU Masters.
And the kill goes on to 1v all as well, which is fairly important because he was such a big factor in game number 1. Sure, you know, maybe Shabire had 70% of the kills at one point, but it was 1v all who was constantly facilitating that, constantly starting those fights up. Getting him ahead here in this early game, it could have drastic consequences for the rest of the map going forward.
Yeah. Or it could just have drastic consequences for the 1v1 here on the top side.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely the much more immediate and pressing result / impact / whatever other word you want to assign to it of this first blood going into the Olaf. Already has the Vamp Scepter here and the boots as well, just to make chasing you down that much more easy. Pick up an axe, throw another axe, hit him with an E. Nope, not going to go for that since we want to pick up the farm here.
Yeah, last match
Top
I
lane
go to the
R
fight
and stick.
himself. Man, I hate Yone so much, Gopher. Do you know that? Do you know how much I hate just seeing and facing this champion? It's because of that ability right there, the E, where he just dashes in and says, nah, no, I don't really feel like it. I'm going to go back to my lane now. He might be facing a little bit more duress than expected. All's coming in, looking for the flank, but 1v is here as well. Big ult Fate Seal comes through, but it's not enough to keep them alive. It actually takes them away from the tower. 1v may not be able to clean this one up because of that specifically.
Here. You gotta be
He is
careful.
level 6, though. Now aggression coming forward, has to find a way out of this, and he finds it! The double kill! 1v takes the 1v2. The collateral damage is real on this one.
As soon as that Olaf shield faded, it was such an easy play there. You drop the smoke screen, you drop the Q, and then you drop... oh lord. Drop the ultimate there to secure the double. Halsey and Svoboda didn't really need to go back in for that one and pay the ultimate price, and now there's a 3-0 Graves here. And that's a bit of a no-brainer.
That ult does a lot of damage. It really didn't feel like that was really respected there whatsoever. Frostport's in a bit of a bad trade here in the mid lane. It really feels like this Tally has been kind of under constant pressure from this Echo. But Mighty Kraus hasn't really moved around the map very much. We saw him make one rotation up the river and pin Lasma in that Baron pit, Herald pit at the time. But so far, you know, he's got the pressure, but he hasn't done anything with it, whereas 1v he's moving around this map and doing a lot.
I mean, to be fair, as jungler, you kind of just move around the map.
Yeah.
That is how you farm your camps. Mighty Kraus not really having as much of an opportunity here, just due to the fact that Frostport says Cecilia, even though you are a little bit behind and you are under pressure here, you still have pretty damn here. Hextech Dragon locked up, snatched up pretty damn easily. Josie Guns probably just gonna have to walk on out of here. Not even have to dash on in. There's the Weaver's wall.
Locks him off, and he dashes across the wall, knocked back into it. Cloud Templar here to make sure he goes absolutely nowhere. Meanwhile, Lasma taking a bad trade up here, tries to get out with the Fate Sealed, but the Ragnarok of the True Strike dealing with none of that. Puts him down, one more on the board for Svoboda, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Prosports getting engaged on, pushes Mighty Kraus away. I don't know, right back in. Flash is good from Prosports. This could be a risky fight. Mighty Kraus goes all the way in, finds the kill. Meanwhile, on the bot side, High Legacy finds a kill on Shibure. It is a bloodbath across the map. The river is running red, and still in the mid lane, more comes out on a rampage. 1v puts another kill on board.
Yeah, Mighty Kraus was out of that one, but I guess they wanted to farm Raptors there by the pathing. I am not entirely sure. That gives over another one back to this Graves, which is definitely shaping up to be quite the threat here. First mythic, first full item completed on the board, and he is going through that Ghost Blade here once again. Already doing a lot of damage, has the farm advantage, has the first dragon advantage as well, and is shaping up to be quite the menace already. But on the other side, for ISU Masters, they do have a nice spread of kills here. You got 2 in the top lane, and then 1 on the rest of your carries here on the composition, so it's not all the eggs in one basket here compared to what Vaporwave Esports kind of has going. Hold that thought.
Yeah, Fate Seal comes through. Ragnarok is used, but gets knocked up, and Lasma finally gets the kill. Trades one out there. Man, it's just fighting never slows down. And now finally, it is Vaporwave with a slight lead in the gold department. Cloud Templar looking to kick things off here a little bit more, but takes the worst end of that particular trade.
Oh, Chuzzy. That was a little sussy.
Just a bit, just a little bit.
Crowd control maintained here, though, for Vaporwave Esports. They got the control ward in the river entrance. They got wards on the jungle entrances here. Just taking this pretty fearlessly. So you only got 2 members in the pit here. We might see the 50-50 smite come on out. There's the dash on in.
They're looking for the fight. Cloud Templar drops the ult, looking to just break things up. Oh, and a steal from Halls 1. He gets the Rift Herald, but now they have to get their way on out. 1v in a dangerous position, getting followed by Chuzzy Guns. He's looking to turn this one around as Svoboda puts Lasma in the dirt. Cloud Templar by himself.
Holding
One all
exhaust.
looking to try to come around. Shibure finds one. Mighty Kraus goes down, and the Mighty Mouse falls. It's a double kill for the Aphelios. Finally, things start to unwind here in the river. Chuzzy Guns, though, might find the kill.
Oh.
It's a big shutdown, but it's on the support.
Yeah, that is a huge fadeaway Yodi there.
Oh, wait, Shibure is just gonna catch him backing. Chuzzy Guns should be able to get over the wall there. Should finally be the end of things.
Yeah, that nearly went so well for ISU there. We saw the preemptive dash over the wall by Chuzzy Guns there to try and stop that dash over the wall from 1v all, but does not quite catch that Graves. Then that Graves able to hop over the wall and just go to town and stay alive, and then come into the fight and finish everyone off. And on the flip side, Shibure completely untouched there for the most part until the very end, and able to rain down the damage. Now 3-1 is Aphelios. The love has been spread, and there's more members with kills here on this Vaporwave Esports side, and that's definitely scary, considering there are a lot of kills on this Graves and Aphelios now.
And we've seen Shibure with 3 kills before. Lasma taking a huge fight against Swoboda there. Doesn't quite get the kill, but looking a lot better than in game number 1 in these 1v1s. However, he's going to have to back off because there's a big rotation coming up, and Halls is also here, looking to collapse. Fate Sealed is available, but the Herald getting dropped means Lasma's in some danger. He goes in, but he gets cut down, sidestepped, and Swoboda just picks up an easy kill. Put some gold back in the pockets of ISUF.
Oh, we got to dive shipping up on the bot side, but poor Lasma there, that was a rock in a hard place of a time, blinded in this bot side. Gonna already use the parallel convergence.
He's just gonna get stunned down and put down. Shibure. One more kill to their name here. Stopwatch comes out from Cloud Templar as well. Just keep him alive and make sure he doesn't fall to any tower shots there. Doesn't make this an even trade. Lasma has to teleport. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he does have the ability to put some damage out onto Swoboda. Puts a good amount in. He's tower alive, but he's under so much pressure right now, Gopher. There are 4 people up here for this one Yone, and they're not going to get a whole lot out of it. Ocean Dragon goes down in the meanwhile.
Just trying to keep on forcing in that top side there. Try and get that turret there. You already got the first turret, which is really nice. You are now down 2 dragons, which does suck here, but you have a very strong winning top side. See if you're able to convert that to the rest of the map here. That was a great Herald placement there. Secure that first turret. Yep.
Right now, it's like you said, topside is winning. But, oh boy, Prospers might just fall down here. Has to run away into the jungle. Flash is good, but the Flash follows back. Mighty Kraus. It's another kill on that Talia. Now in a bit of a rough spot here. He's going to be collapsed on. Avoids the smoke screen, looking to go over the wall. Cloud Templar, it goes over with them. Shibure is the one who snipes that shot, gets the kill. I might finally be able to get back to the actual point here, Gopher. Topside is winning, but it's been through a lot of help, a lot of rotations, a lot of 2-3-man ganks onto Lasma. So how much success are they really finding up there when Lasma can still take these 1v1 fights against Swoboda?
Yeah, because I mean, that's kind of what Yone is designed to do. Like, you can't exactly play a passive Yone. You can't exactly play poke. You know, you can't really play disengage. You can only really go in, and you can only really fight mano a mano. And when you're 1-5 and you have a cloth armor to defend against this Olaf, it's going to be a rough one.
Only time will tell how he's going to hold that lane. He does get that tier 1 tower up there, so now tier 2s for both sides and the top lane are exposed. Vaporwave a little bit more vulnerable than the other, but all in all, not the worst position to be in. And it's still an incredibly close game here, Gopher. 8 changing that exhaust comes down to Shibure. He just gets cut down instantly. Legacy picks that one up, and Cloud Templar may be the next to fall. Knocked up. Now let's drop the ultimate, but he's chased down as the wind becomes lightning, and Cloud Templar has nowhere to go. Burns the shield comes through. He's still alive. One for y'all comes in as well as Lasma. Cutting through comes Prosperous. But on the wrong side of that wall, gets rooted out by High Legacy, and he's on a killing spree now. 1v all, not ready to give things up. Pops the Ghost Blade, looking for one more. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to find a whole lot, though. No one in sight. Gonna have to give this up. Goes over the wall. Oh, he's right there. He's right there, 1v all. You don't see him. Oh, he loses the blue buff.
Mighty Crow's gonna have to get out of here, though.
Oh my god. He got so lucky with the passing from 1v all there. He just moved perfectly to give Mighty Kraus an out.
Yeah, but ISU, they just hard over Jason that jungle there. After they got out of Cloud Templar Splash, they could have just back there. I know we have hindsight is 2020 here. I know we have spectators, so we saw the rest of Vaporwave Esports team dropping on down, but you already got the big shutdown on to Shiburoi's Aphelios. You already got the flash out of that Braum. Like, you can just peel back there and look to set up for this Rift Herald. Look to set up some control in the spot side for this dragon in about a minute's time now. But instead, they just try and go for the Hail Mary here, Spooky, and they give up a shutdown, they give up a few more kills, and they have to give up a lot for that. They do get a little in return, but they do lose the Herald, and they lose positioning over this dragon for now.
Yeah, that could have been a big gold play for ISU. It could have put them a little bit ahead, put them on the map, given them an advantage, but instead, give some of those objective advantages over to Vaporwave instead. They now have the pressure the Herald can exert on a lane. Now, the Dragon coming up in less than a minute here. You can expect to see them dropping that for a little bit of extra positioning on this Dragon Pit. Ah, the damage, though.
Yeah, good chunk onto Sabota here. Does have that Ravenous Hydra, though. Can lifesteal back on up if given access to some jungle camps on the wave. Does not have access right now. There's the engage.
And here comes Svoboda, looking to run someone down. He's getting chunked. He's not able to put any work down. 1v all still survives, so Smite still on the board. But he's looking a little bit dangerously low there. You expect him to be a target. For the rest of ISU, if they can take him out before this dragon, he's still a chance. Looks like they're opting for a reset instead, not looking to 50-50 this one.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to contest this because they blew everything they had in the mid lane, it feels like. Their initial engage really just does not find anyone. This Olaf with only a Ravenous Hydra runs into the back line, gets shredded before you're able to get on top of anyone. That's just Soul Point going on over. That's a lot of damage. Going to have to use the Parallel Convergence to get on out of that one, though. Fearing the CC, fearing the retaliation since you weren't able to get the initial pop, but that's a kill. That's Soul Point here. And that was a 5 versus 4, keep in mind. The entire time Lausma was just split pushing in that top lane, able to get a CS lead back for themselves and get some nice damage and even take that tier 2 top turret.
Yeah, that puts a lot more gold in the pockets of Vaporwave. I can't believe Shibure survived that burst. That was a ton of damage that came through. Unfortunate for Mighty Kraus, he wasn't able to secure that kill. But now it's starting to look like Vaporwave is starting to kind of take control of this map a little bit more. Had a couple good fights around both the bottom side, around that dragon, and up in that top lane where Plasma just goes ahead and gets that extra tower. Gold is starting to pour in across the map for them. Starting to push things ever so slightly in their favor here. About 2,000 gold ahead. And already it's turning into some very aggressive positioning for Vaporwave. Cloud Templar steps forward. They're looking for some invades. Not finding anyone to get picked out just yet. You can see how aggressive their minds are right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, just wanted to seal the deal here.
Plasma? I have to be careful. He knows how much ISU loves visiting him up in that top lane. Once he sees Svoboda, he's going to back off from there. That's going to be a tier 1 down in mid, going down. Esports absolutely destroyed on the health bar there. Has to hop up into the ult, gets him out of dodge. Survives this one for now. Mighty Kraus, though, he's going to be able to pick up some farm, maybe put some pressure on that tower. Meanwhile, this Baron may be getting looked at.
Would be a hard sell. There are some pretty big backs coming out right now, but you don't exactly have vision of them. You don't know that this Yone from Lasma's backing. You didn't see 1v all backing, and there is that Scuttle Crab picked up that would be spotting out any Baron attempts unless you went for really creative pathing to hop over the wall here on all your members. But Vision just going to be wrestled on back here by Vaporwave Esports.
Oh, that was fun damage to just have to take for Chuzzy Guns there. Across the river, gets chunked down, rooted. But still alive, not too bad just yet. And so far, ISU is just kind of having to accept the Vaporwave is in a more aggressive position than they are right now. But with how even this game is, right, Gopher, this doesn't feel like game one. It feels like they can certainly fight back at any point. But I'm not sure if they're looking for those opportunities, right? They're looking for the picks. But we're not seeing a whole lot of aggressive position across the map like we're seeing from Vaporwave.
I mean, we definitely saw some attempts at fight there. Like around that third dragon when they tried to go for that engagement. It was a 5 versus 4, but they just weren't able to lane their abilities there. Probably going to be looking for that again sometime. All in on the bot side here. 2-level differential actually between these two. Just due to the fact that Lasma has been AFK pushing these side lanes. One of the funny things about top lane, you lose lane, so you just split push endlessly. I'll hold that thought because Chuzzy Gun's in a bit of danger here. Not going to risk it for the last hit on the ward. I know the thirst. It is real.
We die for those. We die for those wards. Take that vision away. Probably better for Chuzzy Guns not to, given the state of the game right now. But, all in all, just kind of fall back to a semi-neutral state right now. Ult for ult in the bot lane. Like you mentioned, Lasma's just being able to farm up and become more and more relevant. Just through the AFK split push farming. And really, that's what you like to see, right? If he's not going to be relevant, why leave the lane? He's put a lot of gold into the pockets of Vaporwave just from taking those towers down. Now that he's got those, he's starting to pressure other points of the map there. Do we ever even see him group up for these team fights?
Fine, yeah. You're still Yone. You got 2 items complete here. Extra crit cloak as well. Baron being started up here by Vaporwave Esports. It has been spotted out thanks to that blue trinket. Can you get here in time? You have a teleport on this Echo. You have everybody come on in. There's the teleport. Looks like they're just going to peel off here and let that bot wave just keep pushing on in. But we just see the turnaround here.
Cloud has to burn the flash, get over.
Flash
now
into the
Sophia
back
comes
line.
in, goes right onto Prosport and cuts him down. 1v all. Does manage to return the kill. And what a big ult coming out from Cloud Templar. Shapure goes right on in. And now he's looking to clean this one up. It's a triple. Can he get a quadra kill? They're all dead. And now the Baron falls as well. All 5 are wiped off the map.
Such a great start to that fight by ISU, but then they're clumped up in the corridor and they just eat the fatty Infernum there. Shiburai just melting through them, and once again that is a 5 versus 4 that ISU loses. And they get 1 in exchange for 5 in that fight. And with the Baron buff picked up, with the Soul being picked up as well, it's feeling a lot like game number 1 around this point.
Yeah, things are definitely starting to take a turn for the worst there. As a big fight to lose, and it's not just the Baron they lose off that. They get aced, lose the Baron, lose another dragon, lose towers on the map. Like, this has been a massive gold swing. I think there's been, what, 8,000 almost? About 7.5 going the way of Vaporwave just in that short amount of time. This game was just broken wide open.
Yeah, I think it was like 4.5 to 5,000 because it's like a 2k gold differential beforehand. And now, like you mentioned, we're at about 7.5k, so yeah, things are rough here for ISU once again. They held on much better this game around. There's like a slight chance of a comeback, but it is against the Chemtech Soul already completed, so good luck finishing off picks that you do get with that extra damage reduction, because that just makes playing from behind so much more annoying, because it's like, All right, yeah, we got this huge pick. Oh, you're able to survive long enough for your team to come. That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
And the way we've seen Vaporwave be playing, this team is never far behind, even when you do supposedly find a pick. I mean, Cloud Templar was in that Baron pit on his lonesome for a good amount of time.
You don't win this anymore, buddy.
Oh man, this is not a good look for Svoboda. you nail it. He doesn't win those anymore. Mortal Reminder online. Now grouping on this mid lane. It's a siege breaking out.
Yep. Ione has 2-level advantage now on the Olaf that beat them in lane. Blue's lane just split push all game. There's the dash on in. The Fate Seal gonna be the Fate field goal with that miss there, and this Shin's out deep under their own turret.
Yeah, he's gonna burn the ult, try to survive as long as he can, but it's all for naught. Lasma finds another one, now 3 and 5 with a shutdown on him. Now 2 turrets go down, inhibitor fallen. Lasma is just putting so much work in, just buying space and time for the rest of his team to start doing more and more damage to these structures. Svoboda comes back up, but the damage is crushing the towers. Lasma leads the charge and finds yet another kill on Svoboda. 1 tower gone, a second tower gone, and 1 Vial is somehow still alive right now. The Chemtech Drake does so much work to keep him alive, and not a single one falls in the base of ISU. Vaporwave, take it in 2.
Take it in 2. A very clean finish to the night here. Much closer game number 2 this time around. However, though, in the end, they're able to seal the deal. They have the objective differential. They have the objective lead. They have the tempo lead. They're able to just kind of crash it on down. And every time ISU tries to force a fight, it just gets hard punished so much by the side of Vaporwave Esports. And they hit the gritty on this Nexus.
Man, I think we have to call out 1 Vial in this set as a whole. 10, 1, and 12. He finishes game number 2. That's a 22.0 KDA on just this Graves. Like, so much damage, so much pressure, constantly playing around multiple members of the enemy team, outnumbering him and walking away just fine. Like, what went wrong for ISU? How were they not able to shut down this Graves or capitalize on their winning top lane?
I mean, they just weren't able to push objectives. They weren't able to really just force any because we saw every time they forced like a big team fight, it was just immediately hard punished. They would lose the fight, and that really just nipped them in the butt there. And then they lost them objectives, and next thing you know, it's like, yeah, they got Baron buff, they got Dragon Soul, and we are down 7k gold, and it's just not much we can really do.
Yeah, despite all the fighting and all the struggling, neither team was really able to find a significant foothold until that one catastrophic fight for ISU around that Baron pit. Throughout the game, it was a back and forth and neck. But at the end of the day, only one team can really be crowned the victor, and today that happens to be Vaporwave, marking their first win in Divine this season.
Now they are currently 1-2, as well as ISU. So both these teams 1-2 after the night here. Definitely still got a while to go in this season, and they can't take too many losses here if they do want to make playoffs. However, though, this is the start for Vaporwave Esports for a potential playoffs run. Well, run to the playoffs, I should say.
And playoffs, always in everyone's mind, but a little bit of a road before we get there just yet. So that might do it for us here tonight, but remember, there's always more Risen action on the horizon. Make sure you're in the Discord. Make sure you're following on Twitter so you can always get the up-to-date action and know exactly when these games are going live. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's been Spooky and Gopher, and of course, Chippy on the Spectator. Thank you as always. We'll see you next time.